The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for supporting our channel by watching and listening.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Theme song is gonna play or not. I don't want to have it playing in the background, and I don't even know. So let's check and see if the Trench Talk theme is gonna play this week. Ah, there it is. You tuned into the Farron Dozier Show on nbradio.us, Trench Talk Edition, and Live Tour Sports. Catch me here Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, only on nbradio.us. How did I do? Was that a good take? That might work. All right, good evening. Welcome to the Farron Dozier Show on KCAA Radio, 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. Also streaming from the KCAA Radio.com website and nbradio.us. We got to bless the show before we get started. Let's go. When I was in my mother's womb, I had a calling on my life to do something in the glory of God and marry it like a wife. Commit myself to his word and never be led astray. And when it's all over, when he comes, I'll be glad to see that day in the morning time. Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm blessed, my brother. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Hey, did you see the game last night?
Oh, that was a good game.
But did you see the shot?
I lost money from that shot.
Oh,
too,
man, that shot was cold,
I
man.
hated it, but it was good. Damn. What's in those jeans?
You really want to know?
I do.
Exhaustion, muscle spasms, asthmatic issues, unexpected sickle cell trait crises.
Damn. Are you serious? When I was young, I found out I had sickle cell trait. My mom's told me, but I ain't have no knowledge of it. But when I got older, I had a child, and the doctor told me my daughter has sickle cell trait. Do you know the facts that both parents have sickle cell trait? There's a 50% chance the child may have the trait, and 25% chance the child may have the disease.
Hey, that's what's the count. Do you know that 2.5 million people in the United States have sickle cell trait, 300 million people globally? I didn't find out I had sickle cell trait until I was in the Army, 10 years. Next thing you know, I had a sickle cell trait exertion site.
Sickle cell? I thought that was a black gene or something.
Nah, man, the Latin community is number 2. 1 out of 36,000 babies are being born with sickle cell disease. You could be Caucasian, Mediterranean, European. You gotta know your bloodline, man. There is an inherited gene in our community that has been forgotten. The name is sickle cell trait. WDCONSCT, also known as What's the Count, is out to bring awareness, education, and prevention to people all over the globe. Want more information? Call us now at 323-215-5384 or visit www.wdconsct.org.
It's the guts and it's the glory, 100 stripes, 100 stories. It's the Pledge of Allegiance on the 4th of July. It's them handwritten letters from home. It's them sleepless nights alone. It's his newborn baby he left with his wife. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, here's a line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Hey, from the fields of Indiana to the swamps of Louisiana to the golden coast of California, Uncle Sam's the only family he's got. His purple heartbeat won't stop, and his 18th birthday was the day he was born. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, here's the line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars flashing light. Hey. Hey.
We're talking about Mr. Red, White, and Blue, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing this evening? This is the Farron Dozier Show on the Military Broadcast Radio Network. I want to thank you for listening in. As always, we have a very important, spectacular show for you here. Thanks for catching the episode. If you want, you can catch me on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. on KCA Radio 106.5 FM and 1050 a.m. over there. Today, we're just going to get right in it. I got some guests here. I got on my Orcas ABA basketball jersey, my personal one. I'm not a player, but I've been blessed to be a owner of an American Basketball Association team. And I got two people here. One is an owner for I forgot how many, 20 plus years, I would imagine, I think. And then one gentleman I met actually before I purchased the Ventura County Orcas. I actually called him because he was a guest on my sports show a few years ago. And so I picked his brain to find out, what happened with his team. And so he's here as well. So we're going to get right into it because today we're going to talk basketball, right? From what I'm up to in the community today, but also I'm going to go back in time and talk a little bit about my basketball identity and even why I'm even doing what I'm doing around this ABA platform, right? So we're going to get into that a little bit on the second half, but let me bring up my guests. So they went off the camera. So you've seen the PSA, sickle cell trait awareness. So if you have any questions, you can make sure you go there, and I can offer, some insights. If you know someone that has sickle cell trait and they need this information, veterans, athletes. This is a global conversation. It's not just African Americans, although we are number one because sickle cell trait combats malaria in the regions of where my ancestors came from, which is the Nigeria, Africa area. So, yep, anybody can have this inherited gene. Hispanics are number two, but you can be Caucasian, Mediterranean, Asian descent, Saudi Arabian. Sickle cell trait does not exclude anyone because it's not a skin color. It is a blood condition, right? So make sure you go to that website if you have any questions about sickle cell trait. I am a speaker, travel around the city, bringing awareness to that inherited gene, and also rhabdomyolysis, and we'll get in touch with some of that discussion as well. All right, so I see Mr. Gerald here is on camera. Let me see. What's happening, sir? How you doing? Oh, I can't hear you. Is it me? I can't hear you, my guy. Is it me? Where's my audio at? I can't hear you. All right, we're going to make sure we get that. Now I can't hear. Let's see. Is it me? Are you talking? Try again. No, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Let's see. We're going to drop him down in a minute. I'm over here plugging in my headphones because I thought it was me, like BBD. But yeah, so I'm going to get these gentlemen situated here. We're going to play a quick PSA. I'm going to check the sound quality because we are live on Roku TV as well. So for those of you who are listening and or watching, we are live. Let me see if he's straight. How about now? All right, there you go. I heard something. There you go. I hear you clicking. Are you clicking something?
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Yeah, your camera's. I can hear you.
Yeah. Good. I think that's,
how you doing?
I think it was just a matter of putting on the right mic. I'm good. Feeling groovy like a 10-cent movie.
Man, thank you for taking time out today to be a part of this conversation with me, man. As I opened up the show, meeting you a few years ago on my other sports show, and then having the opportunity to talk to you after you had an ABA basketball team yourself and went through
Yes,
that
yes.
experience. So I was like, who can I call to get some? Because what I learned was before you make a decision for make sure you talk to some people who's already been down that road, so you can get some insights on how they handled that. So you was my test to that process, and man, you came through for me. So I thank you for that.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Well, I feel like a proud papa because you've definitely taken it to a whole nother level.
Hey, look, there's the jersey right there.
You got multiple teams.
yeah, exactly. That I'm gonna talk about that later as part of my identity crisis on how I got ended up with from 1 to 3 teams. But do me a favor and introduce yourself to the listeners here.
Sure. First of all, thank you so much for having me. It's a plum pleasing pleasure to be here with you guys. My name is Gerald E. Jackson. I happen to be the chairman and president of RiverEagle.tv, and that's our global television broadcasting network. We've had that since about 2015. My basic background is that I am a business management consultant, and I've had my own firm, G.E. Jackson and Associates, for about 40 years now, since 1986. So that is kind of my bread and butter, what we do. But again, I've added a few pieces to that, the digital media work that we do. And then here lately, I added just another piece to that, which is a project that we call Street Pro Basketball. And that is something that's designed to be a unique entity unto itself. It's a little different in how we roll out the game of basketball, in that we took a look at why people watch the game basketball and why some people kind of stopped watching the game of basketball. And the feedback we got was that a lot of people were saying the game is just too long. It's really not enough excitement. Some people said, I don't even watch the first half of an NBA game. I just check in at the second half, or I might watch ESPN and see the highlights. So a buddy of mine by the name of Anthony Bingham, he's the other co-founder of Street Pro Basketball, and myself as a co-founder, we had take a look at it. We sped the game up a little bit. We took it old school. We did when we walked in the gym, years ago. I think for the most part, it's still like that today. You go to work out, you pick 5 players, and you go first to 11, be 15 to play that game and go, first to 11 by ones. So we structure tournaments in the same way. They're 2 10-minute halves, and second half at the first ball stoppage under the 4-minute mark, we implement what's known as an elam ending, which is whichever team is winning at that point, we add 8 points to that the leading team score. So for example, if in the first ball, we add 8 points to 50, which becomes 58. And when the ball gets put back in play, the first team
I think your computer's frozen, my guy. Let me see if we can get this situated real quick. This is the Farron Dozier Show on the Military Broadcast Radio Network. This is what happens when you stream in live, ladies and gentlemen. Anything is possible. You have to be ready to handle your business when you're a live streamer. So unfortunately, we will figure out his signal, and we're going to play a PSA and come back and let him get that situated. This is the Farron Dozier Show on the Military Broadcast Radio Network. That's right, MBRadio.us. Shout us out. What's the count? Do you remember studying sickle cell in biology class? What's the Count on sickle cell trait prevention is here to bring you awareness, education, and prevention conversations around the risk factors of this inherited gene. Visit wdconsct.org. Zetovia salve, made from natural and organic ingredients, good for inflammation, poor circulation, hemorrhoids, yeast infection, lip sores, dry coughs, eye pain, minor cuts and bruises, and ready to purchase at botanicaherbalco.com. BOTANICAHERBALCO.com. Botanica herbalco.com.
Muchos de nosotros nos vemos afectados por la enfermedad de células falciformes a diario y un número creciente simplemente no nos damos cuenta. Los impactos de esta enfermedad afectan a todas las personas y en especialmente a las personas de color y con antecedentes diversos. Estar en servicio conmigo y con los demás a medida que creamos una mayor conciencia sobre cómo identificar y dirigir el tratamiento de los rasgos de células falciformes y ayudar a las familias a saber cómo superar el trastorno de células falciformes. WDCONS.
That's right. Welcome back to the Farron Dozier Show on the Military Broadcast Radio Network, MBRadio.us. Make sure you go there. You see that QR code up there in the corner. Make sure you go there, click. They provide all of these platforms for us as veterans. We get to share our voices, share our stories. There are first responders. There's family members of veterans here. All types of episodes, all types of shows. You can come and check them out all throughout the day. MBRadio.us, and make sure you hit that QR code and donate to the platform. Like I said, they take care of all these bills here that provide these services for us. All right, Gerald, let me see if you ready. You got your signal back? You got your signal back? No, you don't have a signal back yet. Al, you ready to talk up there, down there, Al? Let me see, Al, if you ready to talk. Or we find the C. Here we go. How you doing, sir?
We are good to go. Can you hear me? It looks like I'm not working right now, huh? My mic working?
I can hear you, but I hear my voice on your end. I think it's echo.
You got echo? Yeah, I don't have an echo.
Yeah, I got an echo.
Okay. Let me see.
You got some headphones?
Yeah, so I was gonna say maybe these headphones.
Okay. Cool. Let me see where Gerald is at. Gerald, how you doing? Gerald's still not there. It's frozen. Oh, there you go.
I'm good. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Okay, we're gonna get Al back on the deck. I got you, Al. I can hear you.
I'm connected on these headphones.
Are you still connecting? All right. Again, this is what happens when you are live, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna get it together. Gerald, are you frozen?
Can you hear me now?
All right. How about out now?
I don't know why.
Are you good? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Am I echo?
No, the echo's gone. My voice is gone.
Okay.
All right, Gerald, are you frozen, Gerald? Can you hear us? No, Gerald is still frozen. Let me drop down, Gerald. Oh, there you go. Gerald, you there? Yeah, he's frozen too. All right, Al, man, do me a favor. We're not strangers, man. Do me a favor. Yes, introduce yourself. Give them some background of the ABA from your perspective of it, man, and we'll work on getting Gerald on deck.
So my name is Al Smith. I am the founder and owner, operator of NovaStar Basketball, which has rebranded to NovaStars of Southern California. I am also the regional chairman for the West region of the ABA, American Basketball Association. I've been a team owner since 2020. I started the NovaStars in 2004. So that's 22 years now, and just owning the team. I started coaching in the ABA around 2007. And I became a team owner in 2012. So that's a little bit of history of me and my ABA, I guess, intro, not the journey, but just the intro, how it came about, right? Started the team though from a movie set, from the Coach Carter movie set, right? My friend Antoine was filming Coach Carter at the time we put the team together, and he told me that they had a whole crew on set of D1 basketball players that were auditioning for the movie, and they were actually running hills in Northridge and having practices, running suicides. He said it was legit practice. It wasn't fugazi just for the movie, that these guys could actually play. So we decided to put a tryout together, and that's how the NovaStars came about. So that's a little bit of background on me. My career path has been mortgage and real estate. You know, I got my license in real estate in 1998. Mm-hmm. So, and I've been in the mortgage business up until maybe about 3-4 years ago, and just decided to take a break from that for personal reasons and such. So that's a little bit about my background up until now.
You know, we got Gerald on the other line here. You know, what do you want to say about his approach to you for the pro street ball? What was that? What was that conversation about? What was that like for you?
Gerald approached me with this initiative, and we were just brainstorming because I had a similar initiative that I'm working. His was a little bit different, so we just decided to collab a little bit because we're in the off season right now. We don't have anything going. Felt it would be a good opportunity to get some exposure for a few of our teams that have been kind of lying around stagnant without doing anything, no action. But I talked to the team owners on a regular basis, so I know that they're moving around in the off season. They're active. They got players at their fingertips that are available. So I just helped him put a couple of pieces together so that we can do a street ball, a pro street ball event to showcase a few professional basketball players that are not getting the same notoriety and exposure as a lot of the other content creators and pro players, but they're still good basketball players that can produce, that can perform, that probably can be scouted as well. They're in different circles and on different platforms, and they don't get the same exposure as those other guys that we all see on a regular basis, because those guys have a little bit more of an in on how to get their brand out, how to get their faces in front of fans and things like that. So this was something that we both were talking about, and we're doing it for the guys that don't get that type of exposure and don't get that type of opportunity. You know, so when you first hear about it, you might look at it and say, well, you know, that's not much. It's not a lot there, blah, blah, blah. But you don't know me, you don't know Gerald, and you don't know who we know and the type of people that will, you know, most likely come through and bless this platform. You know, when you look back at just the people that I've been in contact with throughout my basketball career, you know, I had guys that I started with before they became famous. You know, Larry Williams, who everybody knows now as Bone Collector. You know, I didn't know him as Bone Collector when he came to me. He was introduced to me as Speedy because that was his nickname around the town, around here. He hadn't gotten the name Bone Collector yet. You know, so guys like that, guys that everybody knows, Sick With It. Sick With It was one of the first guys that I met in the basketball community in Southern California back in 96 or 7 or something like that. So, you know, there's connections to people that have played on those platforms, whether it's been through content creation or whether it's actually been on a professional platform, right? You know, there's other guys that have played for me that have played for NBA teams like Doug Thomas. You know, right now he's coaching big men over in Japan or China, one of them. You know, he's just got that gig. And this is 25 years later, and he's still going at it. So you got a lot of people that are going to be showcased on this platform just because of who we know, who I know, who Gerald knows. those are the things that are more important, that brings the validity, that brings the excitement,
Right.
that the things that people want to see on a basketball court together, right? When you look around the basketball community right now, locally here in Southern California, you've got, the Drew League is active right now. It's summertime. You've got Mecca active right now. They've got a cash prize on their league. You got VBL active right now, Venice Beach, summertime. Everybody likes going and playing in the beach. So there's a lot of basketball right now going on, and there's a lot of great players that are on these platforms being showcased. So, we have a lane as well that we're trying to showcase and we're trying to bring to the public. And that's what pro street ball is about. The same thing. We've got the same relationships as all those guys that you see at Drew League and see at Mecca and see at VBL. Those are the guys that we know. They play for us. They play for me. Almost half the league in the Drew League play for me. Okay. I can look around on every basketball team and find one player on that team that have had a uniform on that I own before. Okay. So that's how deep our roots are in basketball around Southern California. That's how much familiarization that we have with the top players that are available at this time of year, right? So here's the sweet spot to all this, right? Mecca, Drew League, VBL. You see them on TV?
Nope.
Nowhere. Nope. So we got a little bit more of an edge because we have television that we can bring you these guys, just like you see the other guys on television that are well known and highly marketed, and you hear their names everywhere you go, right? So that's the thing that we have with pro street ball that the other guys don't have with their summer league platforms. They're great platforms, a lot of high level players. The gyms are packed, but they have consistent fan bases and traffic throughout the day at those facilities, right? But they only bring traffic for the people that have the bigger names, right? That want to be seen. So it's a matter of making time to show up, right? Scheduling your day to go and support these guys, to go show up. But with River Eagle TV, you can have access at these guys at your fingertip, okay? So it's not like making plans and things like that to schedule your day, or trying to carve out and cancel on people because you can't be there because you want to come support your family or your people that you want to see on the basketball court. No. If you want to see somebody in our section that we are familiar with, which is basically all the guys that get the hype all summer, but you don't see about it unless it's a highlight reel, right? But you'll be able to see them on a regular basis just watching the broadcast on River Eagle TV, right? We got this championship game coming up on Saturday. It'll be NovaStars against the Dawgs, my team against your team.
Yeah.
So that'll be a great game to be showcased because your coach, LG, me and him go a long way back. I coached him, played against him in championship games when he was a player. And now we're coaching against each other. So full circle. I know the fabric of LG. I know he's a high level elite competitor, right? So you got him and me playing in this championship game on Saturday morning. Like Gerald told us earlier, with the Elam ending rules and the 10-minute halves, that's going to just generate defense, generate additional activity on the court because it's a fast game, fast pace, and it's going to end fast, right? So some of the players are a little, misguided because they don't get a lot of time on the court. They got to wake up early to come play this game that's probably going to last 30 minutes and it'll be over with. So they're a little butthurt about that. But, the game itself and the way it looks and when it's played and the action and the excitement in that 15-minute window or wherever it's going to be, it's more action-packed in that moment than you can catch watching a full-length NBA game. So that's the other side to the trade-off for a short, compact game versus a long, drawn-out, extended game, right?
Sure.
So I know I've been talking.
That's good. No, it's good.
This is the
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, go ahead, Gerald. Give us some more background of your platform.
Well, Al did an amazing job, an outstanding job, kind of painting the picture of how we do it and what we do with Street Pro Basketball in our tournaments. One thing that I want to emphasize is that in this process of introducing what is essentially a new brand of basketball, what I'm personally finding out, and it's okay because it's all a part of the process, all part of the journey, is when you introduce something new, you have to establish and prove that concept. And when you compare that with something that's tried and true, you're going to get serious comparisons. And so you got to kind of pay your dues. You kind of have to show why this makes sense. Like, for example, Street Pro Basketball, the question is often asked, why are you doing 10-minute halves? It's not like the traditional game of what's going on. Well, that's expressly why we created this brand that has a unique feel to it. You have to either be first to market, or you have to find yourself being best in the market. So even if you're not the first one in the market, if you create something that's the best in the market, a better mousetrap, if you will, you're going to attract a fan base and customers. So we're going to have to pay our dues a little bit. Fortunately, I was a former NBA free agent back in the late 80s. So, I know all about it in terms of, preparation, work ethic, conditioning, competitive fierceness on the court. And when you step on the court to win, not just to play, but when you talk about champions don't enter the gym to participate. Champions walk in the gym to walk out having won, getting the chip, getting the trophy, winning the game, whatever it may be. It's a whole nother mindset as a champion. And so as far as being willing to take on that battle, if you will, of folks saying, well, what's a 10-minute game? It's, yada, yada, yada. Well, here's the thing. Well, especially, going back to that, attempting to build a better mousetrap, I don't think it would have served us well to come out with a brand that is played the same time length as every other basketball game, because we're just a new face in the market, but nothing different. So what does that do? It gives us an opportunity to show another way of doing it. And then we have to earn that fan base. If you're going to come with a different flavor, that flavor better have some taste to it, and it better have some stickability so people want to taste it again and again. So you have to earn that, if you will. Like I tell players when I was mentoring different players, when you desire to be a champion, and if you're blessed to get into a championship game, my first recommendation is, obviously, you didn't get there by accident. You went through a lot of teams to get to the championship game, number one. So you deserve to be there. But here's the thing that usually cuts through, clarifies, and defines who's going to win that championship. If you are not already an existing champion, you very well might be playing a team who's won a championship or might be the defending champions. So they have a decided edge because they've been there and done that, and they're expecting to do it again. If you have not won a championship and you're playing against a champion, my advice has always been, before you step on that court, you better have a mindset, I came here to win and I'm willing to compete. You got to take the championship. They're not going to give it to you. You got to take it, right? So you got to believe you're a champion before you win a championship, and that's how you step into it. So with Street Pro Basketball, I was saying, and I was sharing with Anthony, the other co-founder, we got to build that brand, but here's what I believe will happen. We'll develop a following, because why are people going to like this? They're going to say, well, number one, you don't have to stick around all day to see the game, because it's about 30 minutes, and from the tip to the winner, it's about roughly 30 minutes, give or take. Then secondly, and I think this is going to work in our favor, it's high octane action. It's literally old school. It's going to the gym. You have no guarantee. You walk in that gym, you put 5 players together, and it's, first to 11 by ones. And so you're scrapping. You're getting it in because what? If it's a good gym with good players, you got 40 other players sitting in that gym waiting for it. They got next down. So the goal is always been, in that environment, you want to walk in and do what we call hold the court down. You want to play 4, maybe 5 games without losing, so you can come get your workout in and just hold the court down and play till you get tired. And then when you
that's old school.
You say, you know, I'll give you my spot. If I'm gonna play so we can win, then I'm done. But once we win, our team's still on the floor, and my man, I'm gonna give you my spot so you can say. So you want to hold the court down. So I think what's going to work to our advantage is that once people see that high octane action, and we have the Elam ending at the first ball stoppage at the 4-minute mark in the second half, teams will be competitive right on through because they want to stay close to each other and they want to win, if not pull away. But when the Elam ending gets implemented, and say, for example, if it's 50-46, for example, ball stoppage goes out of bounds, the coach calls a timeout under 4 minutes in the second half, then we're going to add 8 points to the team that's leading that score. It becomes 58 in that example. So when that ball comes back in play, believe me, it's champion against champion. The heart of a champion is going to rise because teams, when they come back on the floor, they know it's no overtime. It's first to 58. So that's why the teams want to stay close during the game. So when we get to the Elam ending, it's just, you know, straight downhill. It's like we got to, and I tell you what else happens. The third thing, which I think we're going to build up a basketball audience. We got to do that first. Excuse me, not a basketball audience, but basketball players, the competitors. We got to do that first, and then secondly, we're going to build the audience. But here's how we're going, I believe, build the buy-in from the players. It's because when they understand the competitiveness of it, they're going to say, this is what we play for. This is like the whole octane where things ramp up even more. Now, what happens when that goes down, fellas? Ball comes back in play. First team to the target score wins. What happens when that ball comes back in play with championship level players or elite women and men players? What happens? You're going to start in that huddle with those coaches. Guess what you're going to start hearing? Hey, protect the ball. Make sure that we get some on every trip. Get back on D. It's no more, you don't have any, you can't take plays off. You can't take trips up the floor. Everybody's, the highest skill levels are starting to come out. The passes are crisper, the focus, get the shot, follow the shot. Everything amps up from a skill level. It sharpens because you can't afford to have 2 blank trips because you might just lose the game because you just fall behind. So from a basketball competitive perspective, I think that's why players 25 to 35 men and women around the country, I think that's why they're going to buy into it, because it's not just basketball. It's like we get a chance to show our very best skill set. And then as the Elam ending kicks in, you're going to find out who can handle that pressure best, who still makes shots, that money shot down the stretch. I think that's where the competitiveness will kick in from the buy-in from the players. And then as those games are played and televised, I think the audience through our social media, our public, our PR agencies and our television commercials, I think the audience will start liking it because they'll like, I like seeing these. You don't have to wait all day. In this case, for Southern California, in the exhibition games, we're doing those in the morning, but in the regular tournament games, those will all be played in the afternoon. So players will have a chance to wake up out. They'll get a chance to wake up and get a chance to get on the court at 2 or 3 in the afternoon. But I really like the fact that, number one, we got to challenge ourselves as an organization to answer the question, is this worth seeing? I think the competitiveness on the court will answer that question emphatically, yes. And I think as far as an audience, I think people will want to look at it as must-see TV because it's super competitive. But the proof will be in the pudding. When you start having NBA players and WNBA players tuning in to watch the game and talking about it on ESPN, when it gets to that level, you know we've made the dent that we want to make. But we got to earn that. We got to earn that.
Yeah, thank you for that. And again, I definitely look forward to being there with Coach LG and the IE Dawgs competing against the NovaStars. Give us some more background as far as some of the key reasons on your why you're doing this. I know from my perspective, the sickle cell trait conversation is very, very important to me as far as the sickle cell trait, myself being a carrier, and the disease community. So you got people can come actually be a part of your program, right, with their causes. And so talk about that for a little bit.
Right. Yeah, that was all a part of the initial thought process in terms of, to your point, the why. Again, that was, in no small part because of my marketing background. I thought about it, if we're going to bring a basketball tournament to the buying public around the nation, it needs to be more than just basketball, because people can tune in and watch basketball in a lot of places, NBA games, WNBA, stuff like that. So I wanted to give the people a reason to support what we're doing. So in every tournament, in every city, we're going to give a portion when we do the championship games on Saturday. That's why we call it Championship Saturday. In the actual tournament, there are up to 8 teams, 8 women's teams and 8 men's teams that compete on Friday in the preliminary rounds. And then when we get to the Final Four on Friday, and the 2 teams that win, the 2 top women's teams and the 2 top men's teams that play on Friday, they will advance to play a single championship game on Saturday, which we call Championship Saturday. And those games are televised on our pay-per-view channel for $9.95. So the why became, why would somebody want to pay to watch a basketball game and say they could watch it for free on TNT or whatnot? Here's what we added. To give a portion of that $9 away to worthy charities and underserved children's causes and organizations. So in this case, with the game that's going to take place on Saturday, August 8th, a portion of that $9 is going to be donated to the Boys and Girls Club of Carson. Another portion is going to be donated to the Sickle Cell Disease Research Foundation of Los Angeles. And then we're also going to take, in this case, the exhibition game, 60% of however many tickets we sell, we're going to equally divide that to both teams in the exhibition games. So of that $9, a portion of that is actually going to go to both teams. Now, that's the exhibition situation. So when we start traveling around the country, it's going to be reduced to 40%, but that will go to the champions. So it's going to get to that competitive level. You're playing to win. There is going to be a really, really nice, in every situation, just like Saturday, there's a really, really nice coaches championship trophy that we're going to give to the coach of the winning team, and then the players get paid. We're also going to appreciate both teams for being in the building, because we're going to have a consolation award for the coach that doesn't win. So there'll be a really nice championship coaches trophy, and we're going to have a consolation award for the coach that doesn't win. So
Al should like that one.
Yeah, it will be. I personally think it's going to be a great game on Saturday between the Dawgs and the NovaStars, because both teams are highly skilled, and it's a championship game. So a game is a game, but a championship game is just another gear, another level that comes out of the players, because it just means a bit more when you're playing for a championship. Everything is on the line. So I'm excited to see it play. But to your point, as we go across the country, we're going to move that around to identifying organizations in each city. Like, for example, in September, we'll be in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, playing the tournament. In October, we'll be in Atlanta, Georgia, playing street pro basketball tournaments. We'll take a break November, December, not going to try to compete with the holidays. We'll just let that happen. And then in January, we'll revive the tournaments. We'll play in Miami in January. February, we'll be in Cleveland, Ohio. March, we'll be in Chicago, Illinois. April, we'll be in Dallas, Texas. May, we'll be in San Francisco, California with the tournament. And then in June 18th and 19th of 2027, all of the different cities, all the champions, the men's team champion, the women's team champion from all those different cities are going to be brought to Southern California in June of 2027 to play a national championship tournament. So I like to call it, it's like the experience will be like the NCAA tournament on steroids, because it won't just be players, it'll be all champions vying on Friday for the preliminary rounds, and the champions that rise to Championship Saturday, they've all won across the nation. So it'll be all champions in the building. So and in every city, I'm going to do the research and identify a charity. It could be, we'll just do the work, to find out a deserving charity and children's organization, so we can donate a portion of those proceeds. So now when people thinking about buying a $9 ticket, it's like not just basketball, but it's for a good cause. So you'll have both energies going. You'll have people that may not be really great basketball fans, but they'll say, I like what you guys are doing. I'm gonna buy a ticket. I may not watch the game, but I like, the cause that, my $9 is going to. And you have basketball fans that want to serve a good cause, but they also want to see great basketball. So that'll be what that's going to be.
Yeah, I appreciate that, because for me, as an advocate for health and safety, both of those causes, for our children, definitely for the Boys and Girls Club. I mean, providing those resources, providing those skills, but also not just the skills, but the social emotional conversations that go along with that, right? And then also the health and safety with the sickle cell research that needs to be done. So sure, I appreciate both of those awarenesses that you have for that. So I'll make sure that I share this with my community on both aspects so that they can have a choice to chime in or check it out. Most definitely.
And on our website at streetprobasketball.net, we actually have a area on the website where people can make suggestions. So when we're coming into their city, they can say, hey, be aware of this organization or that organization. So we want that. We want those suggestions. We want that buy-in, and we're looking for that those leads as we go into the different cities.
Big Al, you got anything, man, you want to add to the conversation? Did we miss anything?
No, you guys is hitting it all, really, to be honest. I mean, it's been good. Like Gerald was saying, we have to do something different that is not going to look the same, feel the same, and have the same expectations, to get people involved so they'll realize that there's some new movement going on in the basketball community. And people should most likely slow down just a second and pay attention to the new movement, right? Because there's going to be a lot of stuff happening here in the future. If you ask me, basketball is changing. People are getting tired of the same process that we witness year after year, watching players get snubbed that they want to see advance. Guys that don't get drafted that, fans and spectators feel like we're better players than some of the guys that did get drafted, right? Where are those guys? We say that they went to the G League, right? Okay, well, what are you doing, G League? How come we don't know? How come we don't see, right? So that's deliberate, obviously. There's no need in trying to talk softly around that. The NBA is just hiding those guys because they know if they let them go, there goes another league that they got to compete with, okay? Because those guys can make another league that are in the G League, right? It's just nobody wanted to step out on that ledge when it was talked about because they didn't have the money. The NBA had the money. So that's what turned it into they're hiding those guys for the most part. Yeah, unfortunate, but something's got to change. People are just getting tired of it. It's getting old, and we don't want to see it no more. The G League is turning into more of a joke than a serious platform for upward mobility, right? Nobody ever comes out of it. It's almost like a pit of endless failure in that thing. Because when you go there, you ain't coming out. Right? Get it. And to be honest, the only reason you've seen Bronny go back and forth so many times is because of his daddy and the fact that they're pushing to try to make him a professional basketball player when he's not. He ain't gonna be. I don't care what people talking about, trying to support him and talking about, he's great because shut up. I know basketball. He ain't great. He shouldn't have been in the NBA. It's too many other guys that you screwing over just because he got a name and a father that's taking care of him. And I don't care how much you think that nepotism is great for this kid. He is screwing over other people, and that's what I can't get past. When you screwing over other people, you lost me on that forever, okay? So you could preach to me about how he deserves a shot because of blah, 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 but he needed 2 more years in school,
Yeah.
But back to the story, the reason that you don't see the G League growing and advancing is because they don't want those guys to.
Al, give me the address so they can find out tomorrow.
For Carson, we're at Carson's. We're in Carson at Veteran Park. I know Veteran Park has like 19 locations. So when you put it in your map or your MapQuest, Google, whatever you're doing, put in the one at Carson, the Carson location for Veterans Park. I don't have the street address, but it's definitely Veterans Park in Carson. I believe Gerald has the street address. You have to unmute his mic. He can give you the exact coordinates for that location.
I wonder if that's the sports complex.
Yes, Veteran Sports Complex, and it's 22400 Monetta Avenue, Moneta Avenue, Carson, California, 90745. So it's basically like, for example, if you're on the 110 freeway heading south, you get off at 223rd, make a left, and you'll go about 2 blocks and you'll be at Monetta Avenue. So it's literally like two lights east of the 110 freeway, but it's right off of 223rd and Monetta. As soon as you get to 223rd and Monetta, giant park location. The gym is right there on the corner, so you just pull right in the parking lot and walk in the gym. But we will have it pretty tricked out on August 8th because we're going to have a huge balloon display and an 8-foot by 8-foot banner saying "Welcome to Championship Saturday." KISS FM will be outside the building. They'll be broadcasting, so they'll be doing a prize giveaway. So it's going to be lively and festive outside of the building. Then when you come inside, we got the DJ going on and the teams will be warming up. We're going to do a video tribute to Ronnie Laws. Ronnie Laws will be present. He and his family will be able to do a halftime video tribute to Ronnie Laws. He'll be in the building with us. So, yeah, but the address is 22400 Monetta Avenue, Carson, California, 90745.
About 70 miles from my house. Road trip. But no, thank you both.
Yeah.
No, thank you both for coming on and sharing this platform around this basketball. Like I said, I'm with you because, I mean, in my days, that's what 24-hour fitness was. That's what you went to the parks. I went to the park like 3 times a week to play that, first one to 15, first one to 11. You win, you stay on. Like, it's like for what? First one to 11 by 1. I mean, those we know those games, right? Those are exciting, And so I like the way you put that together. And like you said, I don't think people will be concerned too much about the short time frame because it's basketball, right? It's high octane.
It addresses a need that has got to be addressed, because when you have, to Al's point, you have like the G Leagues kind of hiding people away and stuff like that. But at the same time, when you have players that can play and players that want to play, men and women, it doesn't take all day to show what you got. That conversation before you step on the court, people that kind of like to talk, game recognized game. So, that stuff gets shut down pretty quick. The more a cat is talking about what he can do or who he is, everybody listening to him say, all right, let's put it on the floor. Let's lace him up. Let's see what you got. Enough of that talking. Let's see what you got. So with the 2 10-minute halves, it really gives people a chance to, show what they got and go move on to the next thing. You don't have to be there all day. And a lot of times players kind of have that, rite of passage where they think, I'm the best, I'll be around, I'm going to play the regular season till we get to the playoffs, then I'm going to step it up. I don't know, as a champion level player, you can turn it on and off like that. I think what you got to do is stay in practice, play your game to the highest level all the time. And this version of Street Pro Basketball, to its credit of the name, it's like what we do first to 11 by 1s. It gives you that commonality to say, we're here to play, to get that workout and move on to the next thing.
Yeah. Big Al, you got anything, mention ABA, anything? Just want to leave it at that, at the pro street ball?
Yeah, we'll just leave it there. I mean, it's something that's good, and I think people need to kind of focus there. I don't want to dilute that with ABA information on this particular conversation. You know what I'm saying?
Cool.
But I do want to add one other thing, Farron, and this is important. We talked a little bit about, sharing the wealth on the $9 ticket for championship games, the Street Pro Basketball Championship Saturday games. But I do want to say this, and this is a credit to both Al and yourself. It does open the door. We have a platform. We have a stage now that opens the door that needs to be open, because there are other things that are talked about that I think are incredibly important, incredibly strategic, and incredibly necessary. So, for example, and we won't, try to cover it right here this red hot minute, but what I'm saying when I use the term other things, Al has shared with me some things that he has been developing, some incredible things, which I'm sure he can expound on at a later point. But some of the things that he has in mind to enhance the game, the scouting, the different things like that. Now with this television platform we have, we can bring those things to light. And not only will the people involved with street pro basketball benefit, but people around the country and other leagues, even, dare I say, to the NBA level, they can be made better because of ideas that this man has in his head that he's developed, and we're going to bring those to light. And to you, Farron, I would say this: the health and wellness piece. You and I have already talked about that. As we move around to different cities, we're going to implement some of those seminars prior to the Friday preliminary rounds getting tipped off. And we have all the players who are still, in the tournament. No games have been played yet. They're all still eligible to work to get to a championship. But prior to tipping it off, prior to getting to basketball, we're going to talk about health and wellness. How's your health? How's your mental wellness? We're going to do those seminars. So it's going to be more than just basketball, but it's a platform where we're not going to block that out. We're going to be inclusive and not exclusive. So I love that about street pro basketball as well. People are going to learn a lot. They're going to be exposed to some great ideas, great structural, strategic plans, and I'm looking very much forward to supporting that and getting that on the airways on television for both of you and for the rest of the league.
Yeah, thank you, because there you speaking my language, because that health and safety piece, that mental health, the mental toughness. We talking about players chasing that hoop dream still in them 30s, and 40-year-olds, which is not right or wrong, good or bad. But then how can you take your knowledge and information and give that back to that next generation to help them develop, right? Or even your peers that might, be hard. Like they want to take the shoes off, but they just don't know how they're going to feel after that, that last lace is taken, that one shoe's taken off. It's like, so we can have those conversations about what's next. But ultimately, your health and your safety is your body. A lot of us don't pay attention to our body. We push ourselves to the max, and then we think it's just muscle cramps when there could be other stuff going on with your health. And your health is wealth, if you really believe that, because if you don't have your health, you're not going to play ball.
That's so true.
And so I appreciate you for allowing me to include that part of that aspect to the program. And so I look forward to being a part of it for sure.
Yep. And then just to kind of piggyback on that, since Gerald did bring it up, he's right. I do have a couple of things that I'm working on that is going to enhance the game. I'm really excited. We're getting close to finalizing it. I was hoping to be done with it by July 15th, but we got to push back, and we're looking to try to get this thing done here in the next couple of weeks. Provided that gets done, that means you'll see software that's going to put any sports program in the sport of basketball on steroids, okay? With all the ups and downs that I've experienced, with all the pain points that I've learned in my 30 years playing this game, I put some things together to kind of, eliminate those pain points, right? Nobody wants to go through trying to get something done and run into struggle and run into obstacles, right? Especially the low-level obstacles, like the easy stuff. Nobody wants to have that pull you back. So obviously, that's where we started with our software. We started with making sure that we have mulled over and ran over all of those small obstacles that kind of, stunts the growth of a business, a basketball team that's trying to get off the ground. And we're talking about, ball clubs and pro teams, okay? Like the AAU clubs, the teams that have a purpose, have a brand and built their brand, and they need to manage structure on the inside, from logistics, keeping track of things like being able to monitor your players' health, right? Having your players have tools to monitor their health, nutrition, and all the things that they're going to need in order to become, great at what they do. So, yeah, it's a lot of stuff happening right now. And with all that going on, I'm excited, like I said, to just witness it all. Just being a witness to it has been a different level to me, I guess you could say.
You've been at it for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
and I don't want to discount the fact that you gentlemen are veterans, so this is a military veteran platform. So just want to acknowledge you too as well for paving the way for me. You're a little bit older than I am, so I want to say thank you for paving the way for myself, because I had a great career outside of my sickle cell trait exertion. But thank you, gentlemen, for that part of your life aspect. We didn't touch on that today, but I think we're good. I want to relate to that basketball athlete. If y'all could, entertain me for a second with this last piece. That identity, that mental health, that mental toughness coming out of that camouflage uniform is no different coming out of that basketball jersey or them football jerseys or them soccer cleats, right? So that's the part that, for me, it gives your platform gives that extension to that. Okay, maybe I don't have to quit. Maybe I could get out there for 10 minutes. Maybe I could keep my body in shape for a 30-minute game instead of trying to run up and down the court like myself, who I can only go to 24-hour fitness and maybe play half court. If I'm feeling good, I might do one full court, but I'm not running back and forth. But just the mentality, I believe, is something that's the perfect outlet for the mind to be able to connect itself to, instead of just taking the jersey off and sitting at home like back in the days, and that's difficult for us when you still have life left. So anything about that aspect of it, you see the transition from camouflage to jerseys and that relatedness in that for those athletes, in your own words?
I would weigh on that for just a moment and say it gives rise to the importance of what I would call having a circumspect perspective on not only the game but on your life. And usually, the ambition, for example, to get to the NBA is so intense. And when you have the talent and the ability to do it, you've watched other guys who did it, and there's an ego there. You feel like, I've seen other guys that aren't as good as me that are in the league, so I know I need to just keep grinding, and I'll crack that code and get in there. And you give it 100% to do that. However, you become sometimes you become so absorbed in doing all the stuff you got to do to be your very best that it's literally consuming the process. So what happens is other stuff suffers. You get so focused and so committed to, quote unquote, get into the league that you just get consumed by it. So if in fact you do get to the league, now you want to stay there. You work so hard to get there. You don't want to think about anything else but how long can I stay? How much money can I make? Can I win a championship? And everything becomes second to that process. So I think to kind of create more inclusion and not so much exclusion, the earlier we can start helping young men and young women to understand, if you're a great basketball player or a great anything, great baseball player, soccer player, football player, tennis player, boxer, so forth and so on, that's a beautiful thing. But that's not all there is to life. You're a human being who has talent athletically, for example, but you want to include more things in that ecosystem. So the earlier we can start giving people a reason to see, okay, I see when I'm doing my workouts, when I'm focused on this particular goal, I can spend time to that. But I also need to commit a certain amount of time to my health, my wellness. What am I going to do? What do I like doing when I'm not playing basketball or my particular sport? And that's what I mean. That's what I mean by stuff gets lost, because people are so consumed trying to do what they do. That's the only thing they do. So if you try to talk to them about something else, they almost get scared. It's like, I've only done this for so long. I don't know what else I want to do. When you ask them, what are you going to do when you stop playing? I don't know. I don't even want to think about it. See, that's an issue. We have to get in there before people reach that point. So more and more people will start saying, when they're asked, what do you want to do after this is done? Well, I love doing this. So I love doing that. So I'm looking forward to getting into that more. If they're already doing it, not waiting until they can't play anymore. Exactly. But balance it out. Do it before you get to that point. So we have a stage. We have an opportunity to help them understand And if nothing else, not trying to throw no shade, not trying to discourage anybody, but if nothing else, to say, eventually, if you're grown, you're going to have a family. So it behooves you to understand how to blend the process. You have kids, you have a wife. If you're a male or if you're a female, you got a husband and potentially kids. So even if you're great at what you do, you still want to spend quality time with your family. And so this is a part of it too. Just like you spend quality time with your family, spend quality time with yourself, learning who am I beyond my sport. And we have an opportunity to help them understand that message.
Thank you.
Let me jump in real quick, guys, because I got to get off here. I'm about 5 minutes late for my training that I got with my interns. But that's exactly what the software that we created is going to do. It's going to keep everybody in tune with mental health, physical health, the nutrition side of things, the workouts, all that stuff is going to be included in the software. So we'll talk about that more.
Yeah.
But I only want to bring that up because Gerald mentioned it during the podcast section. So I wanted to throw that in before we got off. But
thank you for your time, Al. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for your time. All right.
Appreciate you guys. Talk soon.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. See you Saturday.
Gerald, man, thank you for your time as well, for sharing what you're up to, man. Again, you have been a huge encouragement in my life. Like I said, this is the team that I purchased, the Ventura County Orcas. And now we got the Dawgs, and now we got the Riverside County Mavericks. So, that platform, those platforms for me is what we're talking about in this last part of the show. These guys are chasing that hoop dream, which is not right or wrong, good or bad, but what's next? And I want to be that space where they can come here, chase that. If you want to go overseas, you want to get to the G League or wherever you're trying to go to stay in shape. But if you really think you're done, let's have that conversation and figure out how do we take your skills and your talent, put some camps together for the generation behind you. Maybe your son is playing ball or whatever that is, and now how can we transition, include that in your life, right? Like you said, for me, inclusion, exclusion is not just an activity, but it's the emotional experience of being included and excluded. And to feel emotionally excluded, look at our country. On another level, right? And the emotional exclusions that we go through in this social justice and all these conversations of the way the world is pointing to, that's just one aspect. But what is that, where's your mind at as far as giving that information back? And we can. Like basketball ain't going nowhere. It's changed, the game's changing. We can get back to the fundamentals of the game and get back to that and then maybe even teach these children, the next generation, hey, you know what? Maybe use basketball to get to that college, to get that degree to what you care about, right? Not just to play ball and chase the ABA, NBA, or maybe even, you know what, Coach, I don't want to play ball. Actually, you've opened my eyes that I can actually go over here and do this with the mental toughness that I got from basketball. So because a lot of times athletes are afraid to even quit or stop playing because the family dynamic is on the pressure of you got to get this, you got to go to this college so you can play. But the child might not even want to play ball no more.
Yeah, that's so true.
So where's that space to say that, hey, you know what, Coach, I don't think I really want to do. I'm only doing this because my dad or my mom,
right.
And walk away with confidence, walk away with encouragement, and walk away to another direction. Like, you know what, I can actually be a part of the game and not be the guy on the court shooting the jumper. Maybe I could get a job in the staff. So there's other ways that I believe that basketball, like for me as an example, becoming an owner of an ABA team and my identity is connected to this uniform, it's connected to this jersey. So I still get to live out that life
part of the game,
basketball, to be part of the game. I can't shoot the three all the time, but maybe I can at least I go to the games, I'm there, So that identity for me is still being fulfilled even as a ABA team owner. So joining forces with you and that street ball, man, talking about traveling. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. That
bringing some awareness. So thank you for your time. Any last words you want to say before I let you go?
Just want to express an extreme amount of gratitude and appreciation for you, the show, what you're doing, your work, your passion for what you do, and your integrity and how you go about doing it, and the consistency that you employ as you do it. So just a big giant thank you to you, for having me on today. I appreciate that, but also a heartfelt word of encouragement to say, continue in that which you have been assured of. Stay at your post. keep sending the message out. Stay on message. Stay on point, and keep sharing and caring, and keep sharing the love that you're loving, that you're giving, because a lot of people are daily benefiting from it, and that's a beautiful thing. So, thank you for having me, but also thank you for doing what you're doing, and keep on doing it.
Yeah, to God be the glory, man. Thank you for that, Gerald. I'll see you in a couple of days.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Game
Take
time.
care.
Championship Saturday.
All right. Take it easy,
One
man.
love.
Thank you.
All right.
Peace out. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't think that was going to go, but it worked out. And hope you hung in there with the technical difficulties. But this is what happens when you are live broadcasting. Anything can go. You don't panic. You adjust. You make the changes. And you pray that those who watch this, those who listen, this is real life. This is not edited. I'm not going to go back and chop that up and take that out. This is what it is. This is real life. This is on the court, live broadcasting as a retired Army veteran who still has a basketball dream he's chasing as part of the ABA process and working with children in youth sports. All right, so I'm going to play a PSA, come back and talk about I'm not going to say my little, but I'm talking about a little bit about, what I was sharing with them at the end of the show around the mental toughness aspect of the game. So Farron Dozier right here on the Military Broadcast Radio. Shout out, What's the Count? Do you remember studying sickle cell in biology class? What's the Count on sickle cell trait prevention is here to bring you awareness, education, and prevention conversations around the risk factors of this inherited gene. Visit wdconsct.org. Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm blessed, my brother. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Hey, did you see the game last night?
Oh, that was a good game.
But did you see the shot?
I lost money from that shot.
Oh, man, that shot was cold,
I
man.
hated it, but it was good. Damn. What's in those jeans?
You really want to know?
I do.
Exhaustion, muscle spasms, asthmatic issues, unexpected sickle cell trait crises.
Damn, are you serious? When I was young, I found out I had sickle cell trait. My mom's told me, but I ain't have no knowledge of it. But when I got older, I had a child, and the doctor told me my daughter has sickle cell trait. You know the facts that both parents have sickle cell trait? There's a 50% chance the child may have the trait, and 25% chance the child may have the disease.
Hey, that's What's the Count. Do you know that 2.5 million people in the United States have sickle cell trait, 300 million people globally? I didn't find out I had sickle cell trait until I was in the Army 10 years. Next thing you know, I had a sickle cell trait exertion site.
Sickle cell? I thought that was a black gene or something.
Nah, man, the Latin community is number 2. 1 out of 36,000 babies are being born with sickle cell disease. You could be Caucasian, Mediterranean, European. You gotta know your bloodline, man. There is an inherited gene in our community that has been forgotten. The name is sickle cell trait. WDCONSCT, also known as What's the Count, is out to bring awareness, education, and prevention to people all over the globe. Want more information? Call us now at 323-215-5384 or visit www.wdconsct.org. All right, welcome back to the Farron Dozier Show on the Military Broadcast Radio Network. That's right, MB Radio. So I just want to touch on, why this conversation is important to me as a retired Army veteran. Being able to transition, for me, transition and change was very difficult. It was something else for me, if I could say it as a kind way. But I want to talk about my basketball identity, how I even got, to be able to put this ABA jersey on and support these players in the conversation that I care about, only because, I grew up around basketball. My uncle played ball, so I have that in my family. And one of the big things with that was being in the backyard with my Uncle Kelly, playing basketball, watching him, getting the ball out the net for him as he was, practicing in the yard. My grandfather put up a basketball goal in the backyard. So just being a part of that culture, part of that environment with him, seeing that, I got a picture of myself, shooting. Somebody took a picture of me shooting the basket. I was able to play when because he never missed. So I was able to get on the court on the patio when he was done exercising and getting his shots up. And so there's a couple of photos of me, in the backyard shooting, but I really didn't have a basketball identity until, for me, it was transition. It was change. It was during the time where back in my day, you went to 6th grade was elementary school and junior high was 7, 8, 9. And so 7th grade, I was in a magnet program that bused us in the city of South LA to the Valley. So I was able to go to school in this transition into a white school per se in the Valley for that culture. And so I did a year there in the Valley, and then we ended up moving, like the Jeffersons, from a decent part of LA to a much nicer Hancock Park area of LA, and ended up going to school down the street. So imagine, I don't know if you can put your imagination in this conversation, but imagine going from elementary school, right, the transition to junior high school, which is that whole transition and change, and then going to then another school the next year in another transition and change. And for me, it was the experience of being the new kid on the block, right? And I didn't know this at the time, but I had already been dealing with at least 2-year-old, 5-year-old, 6-year-old, 8-year-old, 11-year-old. I had already been dealing with those emotional decisions of identity crisis that stories that I made up already. The 2-year-old, the 5-year-old, the 6-year-old, the 11-year-old. That's 4 decisions that I already made. So by 8th grade, I was already dealing with my own emotional issues around just social emotional traumas. I'm not good enough. I'm not worth it. I feel abandoned. My dad doesn't love me. My mom can't trust my mom. Like, my peers laughed at me when I was reading in the 2nd grade. Now this is all in the back. I didn't know this at 13 years old. I didn't know this, but this is playing back after I did the healing in these areas of the stuff that I discovered that was going on with me at 11. Right. And then I go to this new school in 8th grade, and I walk on the campus through those gates, and I don't know anybody. I think I was told that my friend Corey went to that school. I think somehow I knew that much, but I didn't know where to find him. But I think I knew Corey was at least there at that school because his mom and my mom, our families were friends at that time. So I walk on campus and I'm lost. I'm looking around. I don't know which way to go. And all I see is this basketball courts over here on the yard and guys playing ball, before class. And so I walk over to the basketball court, put my backpack down and step on the court. Missed shot comes. I get the ball. I step out, step back, take me a little jumper like I was doing in the backyard of my grandparents' house. And hey, the basketball identity is created, right? The basketball identity is created, but from what though? To get a sense of belonging, to get connected, to be accepted, right? I don't know that at 14. I don't know that at 13. All I know is that I found my tribe. I found some people that I could shoot a little bit, so I'm good. So guess what? Farron is now on the basketball court before school, recess, lunch, and after school. I'm on the court 4 times a day. before school, recess, lunch, and after school. Now I'm sweating all the way up before I'm sweating the first period. I'm already sweating for first period. But looking back at that for myself, I can point to that's where that basketball identity got started. But it was not started because I wanted to play ball. It was because of my wanting to be included emotionally. It was the sense of belonging to be accepted by my peers. It was all of these emotional things that my identity was able to capture and connect to, that I could at least walk on the campus. And I know that if I don't know anybody, I know the guys that's on the court. And when I would walk through the class and hallways, guess what they see? Hey, Farron, you gonna be out there at lunch? You gonna come out there on recess? I'm gonna see you after school, right? We gonna play 21. We gonna play 5-on-5, right? That was. Do you see the emotional state of that? I didn't have no. I want to go to the NBA. I didn't have that. Was not in my thought process. It was, how do I connect to my peers and not feel like I'm alone? To not feel like I'm on my own. To not feel like there's something wrong with me. And basketball became my space where I felt like there was nothing. I was in. And so when you look at the different aspects of why we play sports or how we get into these conversations, and you peel those layers off, NBA, college might be there, but what's underneath all of that? What was the drive to that? And so when you look at that for sports and basketball, we look at the same thing as military soldiers and veterans. A lot of us put that camouflage uniform on, that identity at 17, 18, 19 years old. And if you end up doing 19 to 25 or 19 to me, like 43 years old, from 19 to 43, that's the biggest gap of my life. So all I did was go from a basketball identity to a soldier identity. And I still played basketball because the basketball now becomes my stress relief, right? Because it's an emotional release for me. The basketball is an emotional release for me. It's not that I'm playing because I want to play. I'm actually playing that because that's where I let my stress out. When I'm worried and I got stress, I go and leave it all on the court. And imagine that you have an inherited gene and you experience this condition like rhabdomyolysis, where you have skeletal muscular damage and joint damage, and now you can't play basketball anymore. And you can't exercise like the 13-year-old, like the 14, like the 19-year-old body. And now what do? That was my transition. So not was only my military identity was trapped in that rank and that camouflage, but also my basketball identity was connected in there too. Because now I can't play, and all I wanted to do was play basketball. That's my stress relief. And not having that ability to play, get on the court, I internalized a lot of those things. The pressures, the stressors, the career coming to an end. Like, I can articulate it to you today because I've done a lot of work around those areas to be in front of this camera with you today. And so we can talk about the work, we can talk about it, what it looks like, but unless you apply those things to your life, I use personal development classes, I use cognitive behavior therapy, I use Caldwell's LBI solutions, I use grief counseling and grief management and grief support group. And ultimately, I use the Word of God. I use the Bible principles, the biblical principles. And when I got to that point of using the Word of God and all the stuff that the world has to say and filtering those two conversations together, guess what? A lot of things didn't transition over to the Word. So then if it didn't transition in the Word for me, then I had to let that go. But I still use that because God created everything for his good. So even the stuff that's in the world that they use Guess where it comes from? It comes from the word. Where do you think therapy came from? Where do you think those conversations came from? Maslow's hierarchy. I use Maslow's hierarchy chart with the Bible to challenge Maslow's hierarchy chart and the Bible and my view of life and what the world had to say about my view of life. I use the Bible, Maslow's chart, my view of life, and what the world view of my life is about. 4 areas. And I was able to find a level of peace because I realized that Maslow's chart was about the basic needs of surviving life for human beings. But the word of God says, seek ye first the kingdom of God, kingdom of heaven, and all this other stuff will be added. So then I had to read that and figure out, well, what is this other stuff he's talking about that's going to be added if I seek the kingdom first? Well, guess what that pointed to? All the stuff that Maslow was talking about. Food, shelter, clothes, water, air, reproduction. It's at least 6. You might find different categories. It's at least 6 categories that Maslow says that these basic needs have to be met for a human being to experience, not to do, to experience safety and security. And if you get all those complete in your life, connected and all worked out, then you can experience being safety and security. Now, what happens if one of those is out? What happens when shelter comes out? What happens when water comes out? What happens when clothes come out? What happens when reproduction is not there? What happens when air is not there? What happens when food is not there? You're not going to experience being safety and security in your soul. You're not. I mean, you can, but it's going to be temporary. So that's what I had to do. I had to get to that work. I had to do that work. So that's my basketball identity here today after 13 years about to be retired in the military, and I can't play ball like I used to. I do my best. My mind says no. My mind says yes, but my body's telling me no. But I'm still not afraid to get out there. If I really feel comfortable that day, I really feel like I've had enough water that day, if my back is not hurting too bad or my joints aren't hurting too, I'm not inflamed too bad, I would go. But to be honest, even if I'm in that state, I'll still go because sometimes the trade-off of mental freedom, the trade-off is to actually go play, right? And shoot around, come home. Now, I might be down for a couple of days physically, but my mind is so free. My mind is so free. So sometimes if you see me out there, that's the trade-off that day that I'm willing to give that. I'm willing to give up that pain for some level of mental peace. And I have to choose those battles. I don't take on the whole war, but I definitely pick my battles every day. And some days I don't leave the house. If I'm in pain, if my body's. So yes, I look good. I know I look good, but my injuries are internal. You can't see them. You can't see them. It's my body. Now you might notice how I walk. And even you might hear a couple moans and groans every now and then because I really protect it. I was trained not to show my pain. And that's one thing us as veterans, we got to be able to take that layer off and ask for help. Ask for support. All right. So I'm going to play another PSA and then I'm going to get out of here. Very, very, very important conversation that you've heard today. I hope you heard something for yourself today because for our veteran community, very, very important for people to understand how mental toughness, your body, your health, all of that is important. All of that is important. And the mental toughness aspect, I'm not a mental health provider. I'm not any of that. I'm just a patient advocate. I'm a patient advocate. So I'm going to play this PSA, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to wrap up the show. Again, thank you for tuning in to the Farron Dozier Show on the Military Broadcast Radio Network. Shout us out. What's the count? Do you remember studying sickle cell in biology class? What's the Count on sickle cell trait prevention is here to bring you awareness, education, and prevention conversations around the risk factors of this inherited gene. Visit wdconsct.org. I'm Farron Dozier. I'm a retired Army Sergeant First Class, 24 years. One day my knees just started hurting, and then my shoulders started hurting, and my hips started hurting, and my hands and my wrists. And then next thing you know, my whole body was inflamed, like I could barely walk. We're trained through basic training, suck it up and drive on. We don't really complain about how we feel as far as pain. My friends and family would see me and they would ask me if I'm in pain. I'd be like, no, I'm not. I'm fine. I ended up going to a rheumatologist. She put some fluid out of my knee and she was like, oh, you have arthritis. And then that was it. Like, what? And so that began the additional physical journey of my body and trying to manage it. Sometimes when I look in the mirror, I see that 19-year-old body that joined the military, and then I want this 51-year-old guy to have that body back, and I have to remember that body's not here anymore. When I started to talk about what I was dealing with in my aches and pains, I've had fellow colleagues and other soldiers like, yeah, man, my shoulder, my knee. I would say to my veterans who are dealing with something similar, it takes a level of courage or confidence to do the research and figure out what works best for you. Create a plan with your provider and talk to them and maybe try different things to see what helps your pain levels. That same courage that you have to defend this country that we use that same courage to take care of your health. Yeah, me. That was me. Ain't that something? Ain't that something? No beard, 51 years old, and I manage arthritis. Shouts out to the Arthritis Foundation for allowing me to be a part of that campaign. So it's real life. So thank you for listening today. I pray that you've heard something for yourself as a part of our community. I hope you learned something for yourself, and hope you. I don't like to say inspired, but sometimes you got to be encouraged, right? Sometimes inspiration is not enough. Sometimes motivation is not enough. Sometimes coping skills are not enough. Sometimes you just got to go figure out what is the root of your issue. What is the root of that cause, right? And if you're willing to do the work to get to the root of that, there's freedom on the other side. There's transformation on the other side, and you get to live another day to figure out what's next. I appreciate y'all. Shout out to What's the Count, the Farron Dozier Show on the Military Broadcast Radio Network. Last PSA, I'm out. Zetovia salve, made from natural and organic ingredients, good for inflammation, poor circulation, hemorrhoids, yeast infection, lip sores, dry coughs, eye pain, minor cuts and bruises, and ready to purchase at botanicaherbalco.com. botanicaherbalco.com. botanicaherbalco.com.
Hi, I'm Beaker with Military Broadcast Radio TV. We're your virtual MWR, bringing veterans radio, podcasts, gaming, animation, 3D printing, and a community that never leaves you behind. Download our Roku or mobile app today. Wisdom to share if you listen this week, so pull up a chair and stay for a spell. We're heading down a trail where good stories dwell.